Imagine a petri dish. It starts with exactly 10,000 bacteria, but they're growing at an accelerating rate of 3 to the power of t. So, how on earth do we calculate the exact total number of bacteria sitting in that dish 2 hours from now? Think about that for a second. We're looking at a rate of change, but we need to find a concrete total amount.
Well, the secret to solving this actually lies in integrating one of the most unique functions in all of mathematics. We literally have to translate that growth rate into a total population. And to do that, we need to master the integrals of exponential and logarithmic functions. By the end of this explainer, you are going to completely understand these concepts, the formulas behind them, and exactly how to apply them to real-world problems. So here's our quick roadmap. We're going to cover the magic of exponentials, master exponential substitution, look at real-world population growth, tackle the logarithm integration rule, deal with rational functions and substitution, and then wrap up with a summary and final review. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The magic of exponentials. Honestly, the exponential function is arguably the most efficient and, well, elegant function in all of calculus. It's kind of like the holy grail of integration because of this one beautifully simple property. The integral of e to the power of x with respect to x is literally just e to the x plus c. That's it. The function y equals e to the x is its own derivative, and it's its own integral. It really doesn't get much cleaner than that. Oh, and for a general base, like some number, a to the power of x, the integral is simply a to the x divided by the natural log of a plus c. Okay, wait. Pause right here. This is incredibly important. A super common mistake, one I see all the time, is treating the exponent on e exactly the same way we treat exponents in normal polynomial expressions. You absolutely cannot use the polynomial power rule here. Adding 1 to the exponent and dividing by it. Don't do that with e to the x. The variable is actually in the exponent, not the base. So always, always double check that you're using the correct rule when you spot an e.
Moving on to Section 2, Mastering Exponential Substitution.
So now that we have that basic rule down, what happens when things get a little messy? Like when we have a polynomial multiplied by an exponential function? Well, we use u-substitution. Let's make this super concrete with an example right from our source text. Let's look at the integral of 3x squared times e to the power of 2x cubed. Okay, step 1, let u equal that whole expression in the exponent. So u equals 2x cubed. Step 2, we find du. The derivative there is 6x squared dx. But look at our original equation. We only have 3x squared dx. So to make them match perfectly, we just multiply by 1/2. Step 3, we integrate 1/2 e to the u, which simply gives us 1/2 e to the u plus c. And finally, step 4, we just substitute our original x expression right back in, making our final answer 1/2 e to the power of 2x cubed plus c. Now you may ask, why do we actually do this? Why substitution? Well, think of u-substitution as a mathematical translation tool. You're basically taking a complex, totally messy problem written in this complicated X language and translating it into a wonderfully simple U language. Once it's sitting there in U language, you just apply your basic rule, solve it in seconds, and then translate the final answer back into X. Pretty cool, right?
All right, Section 3, Real-World Population Growth.
So you might be wondering, why do we actually need to integrate these specific functions in the real world? Well, integration allows us to find the total accumulated growth over a period of time, which brings us right back to that bacteria problem from the start of our explainer. Remember, our bacteria was growing at a rate of 3 to the power of t. By integrating 3 to the t, we get a total population function of 3 to the t divided by the natural log of 3 plus our constant c. Since we started with 10,000 bacteria at time 0, we can easily plug that in to find c. And if we plug in 2 hours for t into our brand new integrated equation, boom, we find out there are exactly 17,282 bacteria in that dish. We literally took a constantly changing rate and found a rock-solid concrete total. And it's not just biology. Let's look at a business example. Say a supermarket knows its marginal price-demand function for toothpaste, basically how fast the price changes based on consumer demand, is negative 0.015 times e to the negative 0.01x. By integrating that rate using the exponential u-substitution rules we just talked about, we find the actual concrete price-demand equation. So if the store wants to sell exactly 100 tubes a week, they just plug 100 into our integrated equation, and it tells them to set the price at exactly $1.99. So integration is quite literally taking abstract rates and turning them into actionable business strategy. Which brings us to Section 4, the logarithm integration rule.
Smoothly moving along here, you know how the standard power rule works for almost every exponent? Well, there is one very specific, kind of rebellious case where it doesn't, when x is raised to the power of -1. When you're trying to find the integral of x to the -1, which, remember, is the exact same thing as 1 over x, the result is the natural logarithm of the absolute value of x plus c. It is such a cool rule because it beautifully bridges the gap between reciprocal functions and logarithms. And hey, just to expand your mathematical toolkit a bit further, what happens if you ever need to integrate the natural log function itself? Well, the integral of the natural log of x dx equals x times the natural log of x minus x plus c. Definitely keep this specific formula in your back pocket. It is an incredible time saver on exams.
All right, Section 5, rational functions and substitution. Now let's actually combine our trusty u-substitution tool with our brand new natural log rule to conquer some tricky rational functions. Just look at this intimidating fraction for a second. We want to integrate 2x cubed plus 3x all over x to the power of 4 plus 3x squared. It looks like a total mess, right? But don't panic. Remember, we have our translation tool. We just need to figure out exactly how to frame it. So let's map out the 4 steps. Step 1, let u equal that massive denominator, x to the 4th plus 3x squared. Step 2, find du. The derivative there is 4x cubed plus 6x. Now wait a second, notice anything? That is exactly twice the numerator of our fraction. So if we factor out a 2, we can perfectly match our numerator. Step 3, we rewrite that whole messy integral simply as 1/2 times the integral of u to the -1. And step 4, apply that log rule we just learned. Our final answer is literally just 1/2 times the natural log of the absolute value of x to the 4th plus 3x squared plus c. So what looked like an absolute nightmare of a fraction was actually just a natural log function in disguise. How great is that? Finally, Section 6, summary and final review. Wow, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. Before we wrap up this explainer, let's quickly summarize the absolute key takeaways so you can lock these rules into your brain. First, the integral of e to the x is simply e to the x plus c. It is the ultimate self-replicating function. Second, whenever you are faced with a complex exponent, use u-substitution to translate it into something simple. Third, the integral of 1 over x gives you the natural log of the absolute value of x. And finally, integration is the absolute master key for turning real-world fluctuating rates of change into total measurable amounts. To perfectly capture the entire purpose of this explainer, consider this fantastic quote directly from our source. Although the derivative represents a rate of change or a growth rate, the integral represents the total change or the total growth. Whether you're tracking bacteria multiplying in a lab or toothpaste prices fluctuating in a market, integration gives you the total, complete picture. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought. You now possess the mathematical translation tools to actually map out accelerating changes over time. So what other real-world phenomena, maybe in economics, physics, or biology, can you not translate and solve using these two powerful rules? Keep practicing those u substitutions, and I look forward to exploring even more incredible calculus concepts with you in our